Hello! Bloke on the Range, a few months ago, made a video called A Very British Rate of Fire Disaster Video, where he replicated the rates of fire of different British Army weapons systems throughout the ages. Unfortunately, he had a bit of a problem with the Martini-Henry. The rounds weren't sized for the chamber, which is unfortunate, so he wasn't able to replicate that. I'm going to attempt to do that for him now. I have a Martini-Henry Mark IV to Mark IV-A, if that means anything to you, and I have rounds that I have sized for the chamber of the rifle. I don't have a valise, but I do have a German bandage pouch, or sandwich pouch as I call it, with the rounds in it. It replicates the valise as much as I can get it, so hopefully we're going to get something that's quite accurate. We're firing at 50 metres. Now, I'm not the best shot in the world. There are other people who've replicated this, Bloke on the Range for instance, and a few other people, and they're much better shots than I, but we'll see what we get. I'm not just going to bang away and get the fastest time I possibly can. I am actually going to use aimed shots because it's far more realistic. Okay, here we go. And 10 rounds. So, here's the target I was shooting at. I didn't do very well, didn't say I would, did I? 6 shots on target. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's not about the accuracy, at least that's what I'm telling myself.
Thanks so much for that, Stan. Great shooting. Now, even though this isn't really part of the Mad Minutes series, why not do a bit of death by spreadsheet geekery on it? Now, Stan recorded the shots on a shot timer, and we've got shots ranging from 480 split. The longest one is about 7¼ seconds, average of just over 5½ seconds. The original point that we were going to discuss on this was something that had taken my eye in the version of Ian Skennerton's The Lee-Enfield story, when there was even debate back in the day as to whether a magazine rifle should even be adopted to replace the Martini-Henry, or whether they should just, well, they did have the 402 reduced caliber Enfield Martini as opposed to a Martini-Enfield, which is one converted to 303, just to confuse everyone with idiotic terminology. And the reason why they're a bit skeptical about this was it was still the era of shooting in lines and on command, and based on the stats, they were finding that the overall rate of fire, sort of in rounds per minute, remember, in lines and firing on command, not as fast as you possibly can, which our disaster video was and what Stan just did there, they're finding that the number of shots per minute was about the same. There was no real advantage to the magazine rifle. Sure, from shot to shot they could be quicker, but then there was the pause while you filled the magazine. Luckily, clearer heads prevailed and spotted, quite rightly, that having a bunch of rounds in a magazine in reserve meant that, okay, you were at no disadvantage over a pure single loader while holding the magazine in reserve with a cutoff, for instance, but then in a critical phase, when making or receiving an assault, you could whap out the cutoff and then give it loads under a command like rapid fire or similar. And there's an account from one of Churchill's histories where he describes receiving an attack, going over to magazine fire, devastating the attack, and then going back to steady, slow firing on command by sections, platoons, what have you. I find that vaguely interesting. You might not. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Thanks again, Stan, for making the shooting part of the vid for us. If you like this kind of thing, please like and subscribe to Bloke on the Range. Please consider supporting us on Patreon if you haven't already done so. And see you again sometime. Bye.